Wake up in the grind, clock ticking, 20 minutes flat, freedom main-handed, knives built where the real.
Welcome back to another episode of the 20-Minute Freedom Project. I am your host, Josh Lopez. This is the show for people who want ownership, discipline, freedom, and to build a life that is earned and not handed to them. This episode is a part 2, if you will, from episode 33. So if you haven't listened to that one yet, go back and start there because these two episodes go together perfectly. Now I want to start with this, something that might feel a little bit uncomfortable. But if you really let it sink in, it can save you years of frustration. Most of the pain, betrayal, stress, and disappointment people experience with other people comes from one simple mistake. And that is they listen to the words that the person is saying instead of watching the actions that the other person is doing. It's not that people are bad most of the time. It's believing what someone says instead of paying attention to what they are actually doing. And once you start paying attention to actually what they're doing, you can't unsee the miscorrelation between what they say and what they're doing. Here's why words are so dangerous. Words are comforting. They sound hopeful. Words create a future that hasn't happened yet. Maybe you've heard things like, I'll change, I'll do better, I'm serious this time, I promise, maybe I'm sorry. And the brain takes what the other person is saying and builds it into a story. And it loves to build that story and to trust that person. Listening is easy. Watching patterns takes time and effort. Listening requires nothing. Watching actions requires the patience, consistency, and honesty. And honesty is uncomfortable. So most people listen and they keep getting hurt. There's a quote that I used in the last episode, and it fits perfectly here too. What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say. That applies to business, relationships, leadership, and especially self-trust. Because actions don't lie. They don't over-exaggerate. They don't overpromise. They just repeat. And the repetition is what's actually true. There is a reason why patterns matter so much more than promises. Your brain ultimately is wired to trust consistency. One emotional conversation doesn't create trust. One apology doesn't create trust. 1 week doesn't create trust. The consistency, time after time after time, creates the trust. Repeated behavior tells your brain that this is who this person actually is. This is who I truly am. And once you understand that, something becomes very, very... The inconsistency you keep picking up on is not a mixed signal. Inconsistency is the signal. You're choosing to avoid it and not pay attention to it. So let's get this into business. I've seen this more times than I can count. You sit down with an owner and they say all the right things. We're ready to grow. We're serious this time. We know we need to change. It sounds all great and good, but then they start missing deadlines. They don't implement the things that they need to. They disappear or ghost you. They keep making excuses. Same conversation, different month. And people keep making the same mistake. They keep resetting expectations based on promises, not patterns. And they feel frustrated, resentful, confused. But the truth is staring them squarely in the face. And it's simple. The actions already told you everything. They're not lying. They're being aspirational. They're wanting something to happen, and they're saying it with their words, but their actions are not backing that up. An aspiration, like I said, if you don't back that up with execution, it's just fantasy. It's a hope. It's a wish. You're not implementing the things you need to. Words create hope. Actions set expectations that you can actually measure. If you build your expectations on hope, you'll live disappointed day after day. If you build your expectations on execution, on the other hand, you'll live a life that is grounded on things that you can actually measure. The clarity on that at first might feel cold, but it is incredibly freeing because clarity removes all the confusion that you keep feeling. Now let's change topics a little bit, and we're going to go into relationships. This is where it can really hurt the most. Someone says they'll change, they apologize, they mean it in the moment, and that change lasts a day, a week, maybe a month. Then it's right back to the same old patterns. And you keep believing the words because you want it to work. You have a friend, you want to keep that friend, you want to believe them, you have a partner that you love and you respect, and you want it to work because you see the side of them that's actually so capable, but they keep choosing all these paths and their old self, but you cannot make them change. So really, the hope is not a strategy. Believing someone is going to change without a change in behavior is not optimism. It's self-betrayal. It's living with hopes and dreams instead of the actual facts. It's like living every day wishing for something that's never going to happen because they haven't made the decision to change or become the person that they truly could become. Let me be clear, though. This isn't about becoming cynical. It's about becoming honest. Misaligned expectations destroy relationships, not truth. Here's a maturity filter. You don't learn who someone is when things are easy. You learn who they truly are when it costs them something. When it costs time, comfort, pride, convenience. That's where their character lies. If you truly want to know another person, go through hard shit with them and see how they respond. Do they stay consistent, or do they throw their hands up in the air and crumble into a pile? Or do they run away? You find out really quick who they really are. Here's why people defend words even when actions don't match. Because accepting the pattern forces a decision. And that decision might mean setting boundaries, changing roles, letting go, having hard conversations, doing hard shit they don't want to do, or letting go to those old stories of who they are or they were or why they do certain things. They make up those excuses of that's how I've always been. So ultimately, people stay hopeful instead. But hope without evidence is how you bleed years away. And here's the part that nobody likes. Listening instead of watching costs you time, energy, trust, self-respect. Because deep down, you knew, your gut knew, and you chose to ignore it. And that's where the resentment really comes from. Now let's turn the mirror and spotlight in on ourselves. Because this episode isn't about judging everybody else. It's about standards and getting down to the hard truth that we can reveal to make a change in our lives. How many times have you said the right thing just to not follow through? Every broken promise is teaching your brain that I'm not to be trusted. And that's a dangerous identity. If you want confidence, stop talking about what you're going to do. Start stacking proof. One workout kept. Maybe it's a task that you finish. One hard conversation handled. That's how your self-trust is built. Brick by brick, one proof after another. Promise by promise. Here's the real skill, though. Set expectations based on behavior, not potential. Not what someone could be. Not what they say they want. What they consistently do. That doesn't make you harsh. It makes you grounded. It's you choosing what is right in front of you instead of the words coming out of their mouth. because words are cheap and behavior is expensive. Here's your freedom challenge. For the next 14 days, you are going to stop listening to what everybody around you is saying and what they're going to do, what they're promising that they're going to do, including yourself. And you're going to start watching the actions. You're not going to use those for judgment or confrontation. You are going to use those just for observation. And then you're going to ask, what expectations am I holding that are not supported by behavior? And you are going to adjust accordingly, whether it's adjust towards somebody else or you're going to do it internally. That adjustment alone will remove more stress from your life than almost anything else. And you will start to begin to see changes, not only in your relationships, in your business, but also in yourself. You're going to choose yourself over that little bitch voice that always is in the back of your head. It's like the clip from the movie The Grinch. He's talking about going down to the Whoville for the Christmas cheer festival. He says he's going to go, and he's like, fingers crossed, stop doing that to yourself. If this episode helps you think clearer or act stronger, or maybe it gave you a different perspective, share it with someone you care about. And if you haven't yet, leave a 5-star review for the show. It helps the message reach more and more people who need it. And remember, freedom isn't found, it's built one decision at a time, one observation of action at a time, even if it's uncomfortable. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and I will catch you on the next one.